What if you could make learning easier for your child? What if there was a key to unlock your child's ability to learn? This is the key: understanding learning styles. Is your child visual, auditory, kinesthetic, or maybe tactual, or a combination of all the above? If a visual student is using auditory skills to study, then he's trying to open a door with the wrong key. It won't open. Do you know your child's learning styles? What if you did? It's vital and it's easy, and I'm going to show you how. Visual students need to see what's being taught. Auditory, they need to speak and listen. Kinesthetic, need physical activity. Tactual students need to feel things physically and emotionally. They can be considered the sensitive ones. Visuals need to see, watch, hear, read, and view. Thinking in pictures works really well. Auditory, they need to hear, speak, discuss out loud in order to learn. Saying it over and over works great. Kinesthetics, they need to do things with their large muscles. Allow them to be actively and physically involved. Rocking in a rocking chair works really well while reading. Tactual students need to feel through the small muscles and personal relationships to learn. Writing it down, taking notes, little sticky notes, index cards works great. Let's see if your child is a kinesthetic learner. Does he have trouble sitting still? Is he always fidgeting? Is it hard for him to sit down and hold a book without moving something or doing something? Watch his feet. Are his feet moving? Are his hands tapping? Those are the kinesthetic students. They're all about action. They jump right into the project. They're the builders. They're creating. They're excited. Sitting still is almost impossible for kinesthetic students. They're all about the action and the adventure. Kinesthetic learners do best when they can study in small groups of time. Let's say they study for 20 minutes, timed 20 minutes, and then you give them a 5-minute break, a timed 20-minute break. A lot of times for them, it's not during the study time when they understand the material. It's up during that 5-minute break when they're processing. It's really important that they get to move. If they can't do it during study time, make sure they get some of that action and adventure out before they study. Let them run. Let them do some heavy movement of something that's fun for them. Then they can sit down. Then they can process. Then they can study. But make sure they get those breaks where they can get up and move. This is one of the simplest things I can find. If you don't have a rocking chair, which is also a great way for them to stay focused, this is a piece of PVC piping. They take their shoes off and they just roll their feet across it. It helps them stay focused, it helps them concentrate, and it releases some of that energy. Could your child be a kinesthetic learner? Let's talk about tactual. Now these are the students that are probably pretty quiet and sensitive. They are the sponges. If mom and dad aren't getting along, they feel it. Nothing has to be said, but they feel the emotions of what's going on. It's very important for tactual students to connect with their teachers and to connect with their parents. If they're in a teaching environment and they don't feel that connection, a lot of times these students will shut down. The wall goes up. What works really well for tactual students is something that they can hold, like sticky notes, writing out notes, anything that they can put in the palm of their hand. They're all about these small muscles. You might see them drumming their fingers. They may be the ones that are tapping their toes. They're all about the interpersonal relationships, connecting with others. They like stories with emotional basis. They need to connect with what they're reading. They need to connect with what they're studying. And if they don't have that connection, it makes it very difficult for them to learn. But what you as a parent can do is you can give them tools to help them connect. They respond well to color, so maybe colored sticky notes would work. They respond well to highlighting things and underlining things. Maybe colored pens would work really well. They work well when the emotions of the room and of the home are well balanced. And when they're not, they feel it. Could your child be sensitive? Could your child be tactual? Next, let's talk about auditory learners. These are the students that can drive parents and their teachers absolutely crazy. They're always talking. They're always asking questions, and they're always listening. That's how they process information. But sometimes you feel like you need them to be quiet. The problem is, they process by speaking. You might notice that when they read, they mumble. Mumbling is part of the processing. It's actually helping them concentrate to the level that they need to concentrate. A lot of times, auditory students need a very quiet environment in which to study. Any kind of outside noise can be very disrupting to them. Auditory students rock once you understand how to communicate effectively with them. They're the ones that would say, I hear what you say, not I see what you mean. Could your child be auditory? Is your child a visual learner? Would he say, I hear what you say, or I see what you mean? Think about what that child does. Is he quiet? Is he watching what's going on in his environment? When he reads, have you ever seen him reading and then stopping and looking up when you might think he's daydreaming? What he's actually doing is creating pictures in his mind, because that's how he remembers. He'll read, stop, create a picture of what he read. When he's finished creating that picture, then he goes back to reading. He'll read a little longer, stop, create the second picture, connect it to the first picture, and this is how he remembers. You may think he's kind of a quiet child, but that's because he's watching his environment. He's observing. He works well by taking notes. He works really well using highlighters. He works incredibly well by underlining things. Anything that's visual, graphics, charts, maps, really help him learn. Could your child be a visual learner? Your child could be a number of different learning styles. And like me, they might be one style for math and a different style for reading. For me, I'm very auditory when it comes to math, but for reading, I'm all about being visual and tactual. Observe your child. That student already knows what works. Check them out. See what they're doing. It's easy, it's vital, it's fun, and you can do it.